Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm obviously going to be starting another reading vlog for you guys, and I am so excited about this one because I have so many good books that I want to read in this vlog. I have so many fun things that I want to do, and I just want to have the coziest week possible, so I thought I would take you along for this week, and I'm really excited. So let's just jump into it by quickly talking about my TBR. I've selected some elite books, at least I think they're elite books, for the start of August. But if you guys are in the market for some other great reads for August, might I direct you to the sponsor of today's video, who is Book of the Month. If you guys don't know what Book of the Month is, which you should because I work with them all the time and I love working with them, but if you don't know what exactly they are an online bookish subscription service. Basically how it works is every single month their team vets hundreds of different new and early release titles across so many genres from so many different authors. They definitely aim to promote new and emerging authors, which I think is great, and their team comes out with a curated selection of 5 to 7 that you can then choose from, and it'll show up right at your door in this cute little blue box. I love scoping out the Book of the Month selections for a given month because I feel like they're always keeping me apprised of what's new, what's hot. But if none of the picks appeal to you for a certain month, they do have a really great skip policy. But my favorite thing about Book of the Month is that they do have the leading price on new hardcover fiction. With standard hardbacks being $30 to $40 these days, it is so nice to have Book of the Month as an option because you can get a nice new hardcover book for a fraction of the price. And even better, if you guys decide to sign up in August, I do have a special offer for you guys. You can actually get your very first book for just $9.99 with the code HOTTER. Again, that's just $10 for a new hardcover book, which in this economy is needed. So let me show you the 2 books that I selected for August, but they have a bunch of other selections as well if you want to check them out. The first one I can't wait for because this is the new Riley Sager, The Unknown. This one is about this remote island in Vermont where in 1926 5 women disappeared, and 100 years later it's happening again. But then I chose another kind of like mystery thriller book, so I picked out Heart of Glass by Jennifer Hillier. This book is following 2 women who are being confronted with this old murder case from their past where this person called the Carnival Killer murdered their best friend 25 years ago. But now that he's in jail, he's like, oh, I didn't do it. So like, what do you do with that? So both of these sound like the perfect vibe for August, but if you're not really into mysteries or thrillers, they have a bunch of other selections for August as well. So if you want to check those out, I will leave a link to Book of the Month down below. And don't forget, you can get your first book for just $9.99 with the code HOTTER. Thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video and continuing to support me and my channel. And thank you so much to you guys who are watching this video as well for always supporting me and my channel. I could not do any of this if it weren't for you guys, so thank you so much. And with that, let me tell you a couple things that I'm gonna do this week because I have some plans, let me tell you. The first one that I'm really aiming to make progress in this week, I'm not going to be finishing this because I can't be doing that. But I would really like to get into Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This is our July through September Voluminous Volumes book club pick, which is a book club that I run on my Patreon where we focus on reading big books basically. So obviously my goal is not to finish this week because it's like a 3-month-long buddy read and I don't need to finish it this week, but I really need to make some progress with it this week because our goal is to read like 1 volume of this every single month, and I did not read the first volume in July. So I need to remedy that this week. I think volume 2 starts on page like 260 maybe, which seems like a manageable amount of pages for the week. So I'm just gonna aim to get up to there. I have like briefly started this. I haven't made like much progress, but I am on page 35. I'm on chapter 3. And I'm actually really loving it so far. Like, I don't want to say I'm getting the 5-star tinglies yet, because obviously a lot of books start out strong and then like the more and more that you read them, the more you're like, yeah, like it's really losing the charm. But I just want to let you guys know that like the first 2 chapters, I'm really liking the vibe, I'm liking the writing, I'm liking everything so far. So I will share obviously like more and more thoughts as I progress further into the book, but for now I'll leave you with that, in that I'm really loving it so far. The next up, I have another book that's on my August TBR, and that is The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. This book, I think, has been on my TBR for about a year now. I just feel like this is a good August read. I cannot tell you why I think that, but in my heart of hearts, I just know it's a good August read. So obviously I need to read it in August. Don't ask me what this book is about right now because I literally do not know, but I'm gonna read this week. We're gonna find out, and I'll let you know. And then the last book that I'm going to be reading this week is my recent edition because I went to the library yesterday to pick up a hold that I had, and I was looking around the fantasy section and I found 2 books that I am so hyped to read very soon, and I feel like they're both really good like August, September-y kind of reads. So I wanted to go ahead and read The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow this week as well. It's pretty short. I've heard really, really great things about it, and I was really excited when I saw that they had it just at the library ready for me to borrow. This one is like a lady night kind of book, which I feel like I've been popping off recently. I read a couple of them last year, and I wasn't like wowed by them, but I want to love them because conceptually, stunning, obviously. So I decided to go ahead and give this one a try. I've read a couple of books from Alex E. Harrow before, which I've really, really enjoyed. Specifically, I think Starling House and The 10,000 Doors of January are the two that I've read and I really, really love. So I'm going to give this one a try, and I'm super interested to see what I think about it. I've seen so many people read it, so many people love it, and I can't wait to see if I'm one of those people. But yeah, here's my TBR for the week. I'm so excited about every single one of these books, and I feel like they're going to be perfect reads for the beginning of August. And then one of my other big plans for the week is I'm actually gonna be casting on a new sweater. Now you may be like, did you not cast on a new sweater during Summerween? And you are so right. And I'm super excited about my Frankie sweater, and I'm obviously not giving that up, but I now have another sweater that I wanna cast on, and I think the cast on demons are just rearing their ugly heads, but what can you do? I don't really care if I have that many whips, so like it's okay. But recently I went through and I lengthened the sleeves on my Norma sweater, and I'm super happy with it. And like having it out, putting it back on, feeling it again, I love the feeling of this so much, made me really, really want to cast on another one in like inverse colors almost. So I made a swatch, and I'm really excited about my swatch, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cast it on and like do a little bit of it this week because it sounds really fun. So I'm just, I'm just doing what makes me happy in terms of knitting right now. And those are kind of all my plans for the week. I'll probably do some journaling as well. I need to make my August spread at some point in time during the week. So lots of fun things coming up. I'm very excited to get into this vlog, start reading, start knitting, start journaling, all that fun stuff. So I really, really hope you guys enjoy this vlog, and let's just get into it. As I said, I want to start off today by reading some of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. So let's get into it. It is the next day, and you may be wondering, wow, is the weather so nice outside that you can wear this wool sweater? No, it's not, but I wanted to put it on to feel cozy today, so we're dealing. I haven't really gotten to wear this sweater since I lengthened the sleeves on it. I added like an inch to both of these sleeves, and I'm so much happier with it. So I decided today was as good a day as any, so not that that matters, but Anyway, I'm here to give you guys a bit of a reading update because I did start Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell yesterday. I didn't make it to page 100, but I did make it to page 95, which is like, close enough for me. Honestly, like, looking at it like this, I feel like I've read absolutely nothing. So that's a bit disheartening. But that's okay, because we're only trying to read like a third of it anyway. But after reading a decent bit more and getting a better feel for the story, I can tell you guys again that I'm really, really loving it so far. It just feels so, I guess, like different from what I was expecting it to. I feel like I kind of went into this expecting it to be like a little bit dry, a little bit denser, a little bit like stuffier, I guess. And like, while it is like a little bit all of those things, I feel like it's a little bit all of those things in a bit of a cheeky way, I guess, which is making the reading experience really enjoyable. Basically, like in the first 100 pages, we've been focusing on Mr. Norrell. We have not met Jonathan Strange, at least like, I don't think we have. Maybe we have. I feel like there's some people that come into the story, I'm like, are you Jonathan Strange? Are you Jonathan Strange? Because we're like 100 pages into this book and we have not really exactly met him yet. So I'm like, everyone that comes in, I'm like, maybe it's him. Maybe it's him, I don't know. But we've mainly been focusing on Mr. Norrell and his mission to lend his like magical abilities to the war effort, because this kind of is an alternate history, almost kind of feeling book that takes place during the Napoleonic Wars. So like, you know, England is at war with France right now, and Mr. Norrell feels like he can contribute substantially to the war effort if somebody would let him. But magic has kind of been pretty vacant in England for the last like 200 years. There used to be a lot of practical magicians in England, but over the years it's kind of dried up, and like right now seemingly Mr. Norrell is the only one left. I feel like it's probably not the case, but nobody really has a lot of reverence for magic anymore. Everybody thinks it's like a little bit silly. At some point he tried to talk to somebody like within the British government and they were like no. Like, nice try, but like, no. And I'm liking a lot of the setup for the plot so far, especially just with Mr. Norrell individually, because like he has this whole like grand mission that he wants to like carry out, obviously. But he's also like a very quiet, reserved, old, kind of stuffy guy. In the beginning of this book, he lived in like, you know, a small English countryside mansion in York or whatever, but he didn't talk to anybody really on the daily. He was very reclusive. He didn't really have any friends. He didn't really leave his house for much. And obviously this like grander mission that he has set his sights on, like that's not exactly gonna work for him anymore. So in the first 100 pages, he's like moved to London and he's trying to, you know, like get in with the kind of aristocracy of London and make them see magic as like this more serious force that could really be helpful. But he ends up just feeling really awkward at a bunch of the functions that he attends, and like at one point he was at this like really big party and he was just feeling like overwhelmed, overstimulated, so he ended up like stepping behind like a curtain or something and reading a book. So even though he is kind of a stuffy, boring old man at times, it's almost in like an endearing way, I would say. And like the way that the book is written, it kind of pokes fun at him a little bit, which I do enjoy, especially given like who the book is written by, which makes me very interested for like the future of this story. But like to give you an example of that, I've been going through and like not annotating necessarily, but like I'll just like bracket things that I think are funny and maybe want to revisit at some point with my pen. There was this interaction that he was having with somebody where I think they like made a joke or something, and it says, Mr. Norrell, who knew there were such things as jokes in the world, or people would not write about them in books, but who had never actually been introduced to a joke or shaken its hand, considered a while before replying that at last no, he did not think they could quite claim that. So I know the writing's just like very cheeky, very funny, very witty, but I'm also really loving how atmospheric the writing is as well. I feel like it does a really good job at like, you know, setting the scene, describing where our characters are, what the weather's like outside, what season it is, expounding upon the beauty of like the snow in a quiet York street. And I knew I would like Susanna Clarke's writing based on Piranesi, but like in this, like with this like historical vibe, ooh, it's so good. I'm loving the writing so much. And I'm also really, really loving these small displays of magic that we've gotten so far, even though the book is like about magic at its core. We haven't really experienced a ton of it thus far. There have been some small examples, but up until this point, not a lot, which I do really like. I feel like it's definitely like building the anticipation for that almost. But with the scenes that we have gotten so far, it just felt so whimsical and so fun and like exactly what I want a book like this to feel like. Chapter 3 in this book specifically, which I think is called The Stones of York, was so fun. I loved everything about that, and like it was a little bit funny too. Like, I don't know, I'm just just really, really loving that so far, and I'm super excited for more displays of magic to come. Also, I feel like another really big part of this book is the footnotes that are included within the text, which I know is not exactly a selling point for some people, but I love a footnote, okay? I feel like the Emily Wilde series is really where I first encountered like footnotes in works of fiction, and I absolutely love them in there, and I absolutely love them in here too, kind of for like the exact same reason, in that they're referencing all of these people and all of these books and all of these events that have happened in this world that really, really help to flesh out the story, make it feel so much more realistic, like it's actually happening. I feel like this book kind of reads like a classic at points, and like there are some times where I'm like, this is not just like a normal classic book that I'm reading from like the 1800s or whatever, but it very much feels like it should be one. There are also all of these weird magical happenings that are like referenced in the book that then get fleshed out a little bit more in the footnotes, and like those are really fun to read about as well. And overall, guys, this book is just so good so far. Like, I'm only 100 pages in out of this like 1,000 page book, but like so far I'm having such a good time. Like, truly, I went into this book a little bit nervous, a little bit scared, but after the first 100 pages, I am so excited to read some more, and I definitely am going to be reading at least a little bit more today, but I do think I want to shift my reading focus a little bit today to one of my other books. I'm thinking I want to jump into The Everlasting today, so I'll probably read a decent amount of this. I think I also want to do my baking today. I don't know what I want to make yet. I need to do some looking around, and then I need to go to the store because I don't have like any baking ingredients, so I think I'm gonna go out, get some lunch, get some stuff to make something, and do some reading today, which sounds like the perfect Tuesday, if you ask me. So yeah, good reading so far. Hopefully good reading is to come. hello from this gloomy Thursday afternoon. Guys, the weather the last couple of days has been so nice and overcast, and it hasn't been 100 degrees, which has just been beautiful, honestly. Let's see, what have I been up to since we last talked? First of all, I made those muffins. Guys, the muffins were so good, like top tier muffin, honestly. I made apple muffins, which is basically just like a basic muffin recipe with like chunked up fresh apples. Also, if you can hear Daisy eating back there, don't mind her. But I made some last year and I really liked them, and I made them again a couple days ago and they were delicious, and I have been enjoying them immensely, honestly. The only thing I will say about them is I think they could be slightly sweeter. I feel like they need maybe like a little more sugar. Maybe I should have put like some crystallized or like chunky sugar on top of them or something. Or maybe I should have put like some vanilla extract in the batter. I don't know, but I feel like they're just slightly not sweet enough to combat like the tartness of the apple. But I did try them yesterday with some almond butter on them. That was delicious. Would recommend if you guys want like a good, probably like fall little treat. You know, I feel like they're a really good fall dessert. Love my muffins. 10 out of 10 from my muffins. So we have a visitor, as always. Why don't you come sit over here? Come sit in your spot. Come here. Oh, since when do you actually do what I ask you to? That's crazy. But anyway, a couple more updates that we have for you guys. I have been doing some reading. I have not been doing any more reading of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Have not accomplished that. However, oh, I know what you're after. However, I have started both The Everlasting and The Unmaking of June Farrow, so we have some reading updates to talk about. What do you think you're doing? I have Yarn sitting over here, which is why I aggressively pulled her away. She doesn't know how to just chill. She doesn't know how to be bored, I swear. And now you're, okay, whatever. So yeah, we have reading updates to chat about today. I feel like we're gonna be here a minute. First of all, I think we'll talk about this one first because I made the most progress in this book. I did start The Unmaking of June Farrow. I had a nice chill morning today. I started my book. I made a lot of progress. I am currently on page 164 of this book, so I'm like slightly over halfway through it now, and I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely the kind of book that is intriguing, like right off the bat, I would say. I went into this book not really knowing much of anything about it, aside from the fact that, like, you know, there was like this family curse. Our main character's trying to end it. That's truly all I knew about it. I had like some inklings of other things that were in it, but like for the most part, I think going into this book without knowing much of anything is the way to go. And in the beginning of this book, June's grandmother passes away. So this book really, at least from what I've read so far, what are you doing? She's like playing with my hair. And this book is definitely an exploration of, you know, the grief that June is feeling around that, but also the grief that she is feeling about like certain life experiences that she is not going to get to have. Because towards the end of her life, her grandmother started like hearing things and seeing things, and apparently those are like hallmark symptoms of this family curse that's on the Farrow family. This curse only affects the women in the family, so June has known that this is gonna get her at some point in time, but she is determined that the curse is going to end with her, and she's gonna like end the Farrow line basically. So she is very resigned to the fact that like she's never gonna get married, she's never gonna fall in love, she's never gonna have kids, and it's like all for the good of, you know, the family. So like it's a noble thing to do, but I feel like not only is the book about the grief of like her grandmother passing, but it's also the grief of never getting to experience like some of the most special things that you can in life, and just how resigned June is to her fate essentially is really sad. And I would say that definitely lends a very like melancholic tone to the book. But this book also has an element of a mystery to it because June's mother like just walked into the woods one day when June was really young and literally never came back. And the more she looks into that and the more she's dragged into that whole mystery and figuring out what's going on, the more she gets dragged into this more magical, kind of whimsical aspect of the family curse as well, which leads her to really just like confront her grief in a very personal, intimate way, I would say, which only makes it harder for June to deal with. But I feel like there must be some sort of hopeful outcome at the end of this book, because that'd be really depressing if it just stopped here, and I feel like that's not the vibe of the book. Like right now we're a little bit in the trenches, but I feel like we're gonna get out of there. I feel like it's gonna get better at the end, hopefully. But I'm really enjoying the plot. Super interested to see where we're going with everything. I've really liked what's been happening so far. I also really am loving Adrienne Young's writing. I kind of already knew I liked her writing because I think I read half of Spells for Forgetting, or like 30 or 40% or whatever, a couple of years ago, and then I like softy enough it for the time being. But after reading what I have of this and really enjoying it so far, I am considering going back to it and like restarting it. I think that one's more of like a witchy book, maybe. This one is not a witchy book, but it definitely still has like those magical elements to it. It's more like magical realism, I would say, but would be really interested to read some more from Adrienne Young already. I mean, like I'm halfway through it, so I can probably tell you I'm gonna continue to like the book, but I'm just like super intrigued. I feel like this book almost immediately hooks you. It introduces like some little bits of information that you definitely really want to know more about, and it hooked me. I'm thinking my goal is to finish this up today maybe, because A, I want to know what's going on, what the outcome's gonna be. B, I want to start working on my sweater, and I can get this on audio and like listen to the second half on audio, so that'd be really, really great. But I'm actually liking my other book that I'm currently reading even more, which is great. I just feel like all the books that I'm reading in this vlog are so great. I'm just like having the best time, honestly. So I started The Everlasting by Alexi Harrow, and I'm super enjoying this one as well. It is so good, and I'm just so happy because I really thought I just didn't like the Lady Night books, and it was like really making me sad because I read a couple last year and they were just fine. Like they weren't bad, but they weren't like that good either. I just found myself leaving them and being like, kind of liked it. I don't know. But this one, I knew Alexi Harrow would not disappoint me. I mean, to be fair, I have DNF'd an Alexi Harrow book before, so disappointment has been felt. But for the most part, I really, really love all the books that I've read from Alexi Harrow, because I love Starling House. I love the 10,000 Doors of January. This one is also really, really great. And I love Alexi Harrow's writing. I love her storytelling methods. They're just always so unique. I love like a book within a book. She also loves a book within a book. So this has been great so far, but basically like the entirety of this book is dealing with this historical figure whose name is Una Everlasting. She was like this lady knight from like 1,000 years ago, and tales and legends have been told and retold about her countless times. And the main character that we're following, whose name is Owen, he is, you know, very enamored with her story, with her as a figure. He almost feels like he knows her very intimately, very personally, even though she's like just this figure from the myths, you know? He's also a scholar, and he kind of like has dedicated his academic life to looking into stuff about her. But one day when he gets to work, he notices this like book on his desk. There's like no return address on it. He doesn't know who this like package that the book is in came from, but he opens it and the book is titled The Death of Una Everlasting. And it's like this rare book that nobody's ever been able to find before, and they're like first-hand accounts of all of these quests and adventures that she went on back in the day. And he's like obviously really hyped about this. He's like, oh my god, this is great. As time goes on, he realizes that the book is not just a normal book. It ends up actually taking him back to the past about 1,000 years ago, so he can go on these adventures, on these quests with Una, and he can like record what's going on for the first time. I don't know, it's really confusing. Like there's a lot of stuff with like time travel in this, which is really, really interesting, and I like it. But like once you really sit back and start to think about like time travel and time loops and the way that this book is playing with time, you're like, oh. But I've just been enjoying that setup so much so far. I feel like, you know, Owen and Una, they're very different people, as you can probably guess. Una's like this badass, you know, like lady knight. She's really tall, shoulders are super broad, super built. And if you so much as like look at her the wrong way, she'll like slit your throat kind of vibe. And Owen is very much like a self-proclaimed coward. He tries to like, you know, get Una to open up a little bit more, but she's always like, you know, threatening to like stab him or something. And at first she like doesn't even want him to come along with her. She's like, I don't do this for the fans, like get out of here, leave me alone. And over the course of the journey, like she does start to warm up to him a little bit more, and you can tell like they do kind of start to care for each other a little bit. So I feel like they have a really good rapport throughout the book that's like, you know, entertaining to read. But I think it's also really interesting to experience this from Owen's perspective, because he has this like reverence for her as this figure from the legends, and now that like he's seeing her in person, he's seeing like the cracks in the facade, he's starting to see her as more of a real person than just like this figure from the stories, which I really enjoy, like him coming to terms with that. I'm also really enjoying getting some of the like excerpts from like the book that he wrote of her adventures in these quests, because they feel very like classic, medievally, Arthurian, legendy, I guess. There's like a sword in the stone equivalent, which, by the way, side tangent here, I rewatched The Sword in the Stone, like from the 60s, like the Disney movie that they did in the 60s. I love that movie. I love the Disney 60s animation so much, and that is one of my favorite Disney movies. If you have not seen it and you like fantasy stuff, you should watch it. There's something akin to The Sword in the Stone. There's like the Holy Grail. There's like dragons that we have to slay. Like, it's all very, very fun, which is why I feel like I need to read more medievally kind of books. So like, if you guys have any good medieval book recs for me, let me know. I feel like I should read more. I feel like I'd really, really like them. I just need to find the right ones. So I'm really enjoying getting to read the excerpts from the book that he is writing, but I'm also really enjoying the fact that you not only get the stories that have been told and retold and whatever, but you're also getting Owen's firsthand perspective of some of these events. And I feel like that's really exemplifying how those who are writing history really have the power to like change things and omit things that really work to like guide the public's opinion of like a figure or an event or a movement or whatever in whatever way they want to and for whatever purpose they may be working for. So I think that's just a really interesting way to exemplify that. All of that also plays into like the political landscape that is currently in this world that we're set on. It's very like akin to Earth. I think it's set on Earth, but it's not Earth. You know, like that kind of fantasy vibe. There's currently a war going on in the present day, and the way that the past is shaping the like narrative and events of the future, I think is just so well done. So everything about this book has been fascinating. Honestly, I'm really excited about the part in this book where I'm at right now, because we just kind of switched gears a little bit, I would say. I've moved to a different part of the book, which has like a little bit of a different perspective to it, and I can't wait to jump back into it, but I wanted to give you guys, you know, some initial thoughts and like beginning thoughts and whatnot before I did that, but I cannot wait to read some more of this book. That is How the Everlasting is going so far. Absolutely love Alex E. Harrow's writing style. I'm loving the story. I'm loving the characters. They're definitely very flawed in their individual ways, but like they're still just so interesting, and I cannot wait to see where this book goes, because I'm really, really enjoying it so far. So those are the two reading updates that I had for you guys. As I said, I really would like to finish one of these today, and I can like probably finish The Everlasting tomorrow. I think I might leave Jonathan Strange and Mr. Nora where it's at for right now, like in this vlog, because I really want to focus on finishing these. But I've just been doing some really, really great reading this week, and I'm super excited about that. I haven't really been doing a lot of reading in July. Like I read a bunch for summer weed, and then I felt burnt out for like 3 weeks. So getting back to it with these great books has been so enjoyable. Oh my gosh, I've been having the best time. So yeah, plans for the rest of the afternoon and tonight. I'm thinking I want to do some journaling. I want to make my August journal spread so I can like make it on time. I didn't even make a July spread. It was that bad. And I want to do some knitting. I want to cast on my sweater. I'm super excited. So sorry for the super long update. I promise I'm done. But yeah, I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow or the next day with some more reading updates. Sunday afternoon and I'm back with lots of updates for you guys actually. I have finished 2 books, I have acquired 2 books, I have quite the knitting update honestly. So let me just get into it. I'm really excited to talk about everything that I have to share with you guys right now. So I think first of all, maybe let me start with not the reading updates. We'll save those for a moment from now. But I did get a couple of books in the mail recently that I'm really excited about and I want to show them to you. So first of all, this one was a recommendation from Mackenzie. I did not know that these books existed and she was like, do you want to read one of these with me? I was like, absolutely, I want to read one of those with you. So I picked up Supernatural Nevermore, which is like a book that is based on the TV show Supernatural, which I have like a interesting relationship with Supernatural. Like I love the beginning of the show so much. And then last year when I was watching it, I think I made it up to like season 5, like the beginning of season 5. Or was it the beginning of season 6? I'm not sure. But I tried to watch the first episode of whatever that season was like 5 times and I simply could not make it through it and I haven't continued past then. But I did recently rewatch all of the first season and it's so good. And like I think I'm gonna just continue my rewatch up until like season 5 and I'll see if I like it more. I don't know. Are you coming up, Daisy? But this is, as I said, a book that's like kind of based on the TV show, and I thought this one was really interesting. It says there's a murder that's bizarre, even by New York City standards. It's the latest in a line of killings that the brothers soon suspect are based on the creepy stories of legendary writer Edgar Allan Poe, which is why this is called Nevermore, obviously. So I think me and her are gonna read this in September, maybe? Stop showing them your butt, move. But yeah, obviously like atrocious cover in the best possible way. I love this. So I am super happy to have this. And then I ordered a book off of Blackwell's because I've been pretty interested in this one, and that is The Unicorn Hunters by Catherine Arden. This is the beautiful UK copy of it. I mean, look at this. She is stunning. And when I got this in the mail, I saw that it was signed by Catherine Arden, which is super cool. Look at that. I didn't even know it was gonna be signed by the author. I don't think it said that in the Blackwell's listing when I bought it last week, but I thought that was fun. I have not read anything by Catherine Arden aside from her middle grade horror series, which I feel like is a very different vibe from, what are you doing? She's like putting her paw in the little open, like things where you pull out the drawers on my desk. I don't know. But I feel like Catherine Arden's fantasy books, like the Winter Night trilogy and the Warm Hands of Ghosts and this, are like very different. It's a very different vibe from like the Small Spaces series. So I'm really interested to see what I think about her adult fantasy. So I'm really excited about this one. And I really want to get like into some, hey, get out of there. And I really want to prioritize like some high fantasy reads this fall. So I thought this would be a good one. So that is my very random book mail. Obviously we have like 2 very different vibes going on here, but I'm very excited about both of them. And then as I said, I want to give you guys a knitting update because I did cast on my Norma sweater and I made a lot of progress on it. I feel like for the amount of time that I worked on it, I made a decent amount of progress on it because this is now where we're at. I finished all of the short rows, thank God, because there are like a million short rows in this pattern. And I was able to do like the first color work stripe and I'm so happy with how my yarn combo is looking this time around. If you were here in the beginning of the year when I like made my other Norma sweater, I had a devil of a time with like color combos and trying to get colors that I thought looked good together. It literally took me a month of like knitting and undoing and reknitting to like really decide on a good color palette. But now that I've done like the first stripe on this one, I have no questions about my color palette. Like I just really, really like it. It's like a nice gray brown kind of vibe that we have going on and it looks super cozy. And I cannot wait to work on this some more, but my hands are very upset with me right now. So I will not be working on this anymore until like a week from now. Do you mind? You are going to suffocate yourself. I have a bag sitting on the floor over here and Daisy, like a plastic shopping bag, and Daisy loves sitting in them. I don't know why, but that is literally not an option. What do you think you're doing? She's so dumb. She looks upset with me now that I've made her get out of the death trap. I swear 50% of my interactions with Daisy are me yelling at her to stop doing stuff that might kill her. I don't know. But anyway, aside from all of my non-reading updates, I have reading updates. As I said, I have 2 for you guys. I've finished both of the books that I wanted to in this vlog, so I'm really happy about that. So while I was knitting, I listened to the second half of The Unmaking of June Farrow, and I continued to enjoy this book. I would definitely say I liked it. I didn't absolutely love it. I feel like in the second half of the book, we started to focus more on some of the elements that I really wanted to know about, which is kind of like the ins and outs of this family curse, as well as this like town mystery that happened a long time ago where this minister was mysteriously murdered and like nobody can find the body and nobody knows what happened to him. So I feel like this book had a really good blend of like genres, you know, like it's mystery, it's magical realism, it's contemporary. I liked it. I just feel like generally this isn't like 100% my kind of book, and I'm glad that I picked it up because it is a little bit different for my reading. But I just didn't really feel quite as captivated with the story as I was wanting to be. Like I liked it. It felt like an easy book to read. It had some interesting elements to it for sure, but I just didn't love it as much as I was wanting to. So I'm really interested to see if I would like a different book by Adrienne Young, such as Spells for Forgetting, like I said, because I really did love the writing, and I feel like that's something that, you know, is probably gonna be pretty similar across the board with an author's work. I think that one is like a little bit witchy. I think it takes place in like the Pacific Northwest kind of vibe. So I'd be really interested to know what you guys thought of June Farrow. I feel like a lot of people really love this book, and I definitely liked it, but it just wasn't like quite as much as I wanted, you know. But do I have another good reading update for you? Because I finished The Everlasting and I loved this, honestly. This book really is like a love story at the heart of it, and I feel like the second half of this book is really where you start to see that and where the love story really starts to take off, and it is just, I loved the two of them. I love like they always find their way back to each other kind of thing. Like, it's so romantic, and I love just how ingrained they were in each other's stories and how much they came to rely upon each other and how much they truly could not live without the other, and like the sacrifices that they made, and just like the cyclical nature of it. Oh my god, it was so good. I loved the writing, I loved the plot, I loved the structure of this book. I feel like the way that this book is written really gives you some really great insight from like both sides of this like love story that you're following through time. And sometimes I do not enjoy getting the man's perspective in like more romance leaning books, but I loved Owen not only as a character like on his own, but I liked him and Una together. So like being able to see just like the reverence that like they both ended up having for each other was just like, it was just beautiful, honestly. And I love that in the beginning of this book you can see the reverence that Owen has for Una as like a legend, as a figure of myth, as this historical figure that she was. But as the story progresses, that really shifts and he kind of feels a reverence for her just like as this woman in his life, and he just loves her so much. And it's just, I love the way that it's written. It is so good, honestly. I love where this book ended off for our two main characters, and I just thought like conceptually this book is just cool. But I love the concept of time-crossed lovers, and it's just done so well in this book, and like the amount of yearning that you can like pump into a story with that kind of concept. Don't get me started. It was stunning, honestly. I don't think I would quite give this book 5 stars. I don't really know why, but like when I give a book 5 stars, like I know I want to give it 5 stars. But with this one, I don't think I'm quite there, but like for the most part, everything about this was absolutely stunning. And this is now my new favorite Lady Knight book. I loved Una. She was such a badass. I loved the kind of mild exploration of gender that was in this book. The exploration of that in terms of Una and Owen's relationship dynamic, I really loved. And guys, like if you want a stunning Lady Knight book, you gotta pick this book up. Like this was actually so good and I loved it. So yeah, this is the other book that I finished and it was really good. So I have been doing some really great reading this week. Honestly, I haven't read any more of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I need to get back into this week because I have a live show for the first third of this book, or for the first volume of this book, on the 8th of August, which is a week from now. So I need to get going. I need to get cracking on this. But I will save this for my next vlog. But like the bit of this book that I read, I absolutely loved. I loved The Everlasting. For the most part, you know, like I really enjoyed my time with The Unmaking of June Farrow. So my first reads of August, even though I started some of these in July, but like semantics, whatever. But my first reads of August have been so good so far. And I feel like this is just setting the tone for the rest of my reading year. So I'm super excited about that. But with that, we've reached the end of the vlog. I really hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me during this very cozy week that I've been having, honestly. Like my reading's been great. I've been doing some baking, knitting, honestly just all of my favorite things, which is always needed. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously, I would love to know down below if you guys have read any of the books that I started or finished in this vlog. If you haven't read any of them though, I would just love to know whatever books you guys are reading right now. What are your first reads of August? I'd love to chat about them. But with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having an amazing Monday or Tuesday. I don't exactly know what day I'm posting this video, but whatever day it is, I hope you're having an amazing one. And I will see you all in my next one. Bye!